Doric TV, zooming again. Well, you know, behind any venture, there's always somebody, you know, in the background, beavering away. And in this case, in Doric TV's case, it's a man called Gordon Mackay. This here is a spurtle. It's a very special spurtle. These are specially made by a lovely man in Funnyfall who makes these spurtles, right? And they originally were made for steering your brose or your porridge. Well, I'm going to start a thing. These spurtles are going to be awarded to special folk on Doric TV. So, Gordon Mackay, here is your spurtle, which you will receive at a later date, right? And Debbie, you're going to be awarded with a spurtle as well. Okie dokie. Now, these spurtles, you didn't just steer your porridge or your brose with it. When you do that, right, it's a bit of a magical thing because you can stir in your dreams and your wishes. Debbie Leslie, fictional writer, national and local magazines, novelist of 2 children's books, writer of 3 Doric books, creative writer, tutor, working with mental health groups, using images, using writing as a therapeutic tool. You've written a play, performed at the Lemon Tree. You're an after-dinner speaker, and you've got your own business now, making cards in Doric. One question, Debbie, is there anything that you hinted in? Over to you, Debbie.
Well, I'd like to think there's plenty of time left, so there's even something new happening, something new coming up. Life's full of challenges.
Well, that's a fair introduction, Debbie, and I'm so impressed. My goodness. Yeah, brought up in Barthel Chapel. Now, for visitors near and far, Debbie, far is Barthel Chapel?
Well, Barthel Chapel's a wee place, nae a huge place, a little wee place between Meldrum and Fyvie.
Just a lovely sounding name, Barthel Chapel.
It's a nice name, isn't it? Quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, now, Debbie, you're telling me that you were born and brought up in a cottar house. Again, right. For viewers, fit is a cottar house, Debbie?
Well, a cottar house is sometimes called a tide cottage, and if you worked in a firm, you got to bide in a cottar house, a tide cottage. That was part of your wages, I suppose, to be able to bide in the house rent free. And sometimes, I suppose, there would have been perks with that as well, like in the past, toddy's coal, stuff like that.
Perks of biding in a cottar house.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cottar houses done in empty now, isn't there, Debbie?
Yes, sadly that's true. They're dotted all through the countryside, lots of cottar houses with nobody biding in them. It's quite a sad sight.
Yeah, because in your day, in my day, Debbie, we're not that all, are we? We can remember the countryside strewn with farms, small firms, bigger firms, small holdings, cottar houses, crafts. And every one of these was occupied, weren't they, Debbie? They were all occupied.
Mm-hmm, that's right. But like I said, Naomi Mayor, it's just the ghostly buildings standing with nobody in them now.
Growing up in a cottar house in the countryside, Debbie, what was it like?
Well, Jill, I suppose I would describe myself as a kind of accidental Aberdeenshire quine. I came here when I was about 2 to bide with folk that weren't my parents, but were really the best mum and dad I could ever have wished for. And like you said, we bid in a firm at a place called Barthel Chapel, in our cottar house. And I suppose by the day's standards, life was pretty basic. But I was well cared for, well fed, never went hungry. And cottar life really revolved around the school, the kirk, and where we shoppy. And as a bairn, I had all the freedom to rake around the countryside to my heart's content. And that's a freedom that kids just don't really have nowadays.
It just makes my heart sing, and it will make a lot of hearts sing out there, Debbie, because a lot of folk that are watching this Doric TV, they if they're not still in the countryside, you know, they were born and brought up in the countryside. A lot of them emigrated to other parts of the world. So who did you learn to speak your Doric words from? Who did you learn it from?
Well, my Doric was learnt at home. That's the best way to describe it. And after I went to school, I didn't realise that I was suddenly bilingual, fluent in both Scots and English. if anything, I suppose English was more for school, and Doric was thought of as being more for home, can playing outside with your pals. But I can't mind it ever really being an issue either way. It was never really encouraged or discouraged. It was just a fact of life. And I suppose if I was influenced by anybody, it would have been my mum. She was for the New Deer way, and she would have described herself as a buchan speaker, and a proud buchan speaker at that. And interestingly, she used to tell me that when she was at the school, she can mind for being belted for speaking in her own tongue. So that's definitely changed for the better.
No, I heard somebody else saying that, that just the other day, that they were belted. Belted means when the dominie or whoever was the teacher of the class, oh gosh, you can feel it still. I got belted as a bairn at school. It wasn't for speaking in Doric. I think it was for speaking too much in general, believe it or not, folks. But anyway, yeah, and it was stingy, wasn't it? But imagine being belted for speaking in your own natural tongue. Do you not think that to us there could be a little psychological thing going on there?
Maybe mental health damage there, about psychological. Definitely.
But in this day and age, where culture is coming very much to the fore, the last of the Inuites, the Inuit people are the last of that people who lived and worked off the land and the sea. And you know what, Debbie, folk of the land and the sea, we're becoming a wee bit like that, and we're becoming more and more precious, as time goes on. I think it is more your passion of Doric just goes right to the heart, doesn't it, Debbie? You speak it, but you also write in Doric. Did you ever officially learn to write in Doric?
Well, no, at all, Jill. I started writing fiction for national women's magazines, and one day I suddenly fancied having a go at writing in Doric. I won a competition for a Doric short story, and I had a couple of things published in, it was the Leopard magazine, and that kind of gave me the confidence to write my Doric books. I write phonetically, and I try to be consistent with my spelling. I suppose my style has changed a wee bit over the years, as I was trying to make it easier to read in Nea Charles. I didn't use the apologetic apostrophe that denotes a missing letter. When I'm writing in Doric, I didn't consider it missing. It's just nae there. And you also have to be wary of Doric words that look the same as an English word but mean something different. Words like fool, meaning mucky in Doric, and they mean idiot in English. And I also think that Doric lends to humour. It's important is also to realise that we can also not just speak about funny stuff, and we can use our Doric to speak about serious issues and emotive topics and all. And I think it's vital for folk at our ages to understand that it's not a substandard way of speaking. It's certainly not slang, and it doesn't mean that you're not intelligent, cultured or educated. You can be all of these things and speaking your own tongue. And I suppose it's just a matter of confidence to say, this is who I am, really.
Your thoughts, Debbie, on where the Doric dialect, the Doric language, where is that in the past? Where does that come from?
Well, the origins of any language is a really complex subject, and I'm not a linguist who deals in facts and structure and history and the development of language. But most Doric words have come about either as a result of sound difference between English and Scots, for instance, spoon and speen and water and water. And obviously we do have some words that English doesn't have. And that, in most cases, that's because English has lost them and we've maybe managed to hang on to them. Wonderful words like muckle and clipe, and of course we have a Scandinavian influence and all, kind of dating back to the time of the Vikings. And the reasons we've got words in common with German and Dutch and Danish and Swedish and Norwegian is because we're all part of the same language family, cousins if you like.
So basically we're a bit of a thing. unique words, you know, the way that we express ourselves, the way that we think. It's totally unique to the rest of the world, and I think that's really should be held very much to the fore, Debbie. An example, Debbie, of real Doric words that you just think, oh, that just said it then, you know.
Well, you're asking about words used in the country. Of course, some words associated with like things like firm implements kind of for work, or household objects kind of used in a domestic setting. These words have kind of naturally died out as the items became redundant, but we still have lots of rich expressive words. Words that don't really have an adequate English equivalent. And I'm thinking of words that really like dreich and scunard, and there's countless other things.
I know, you know, because when I'm walking about the countryside, you know, I just love to poke about in some old parks, some fields, and you find these relics of the past, you know, a set of harras or a discs, or, you know, I kind of just remember all the top of my head are the implements, the farm implements that you used to see. I used to see my dad, hooking on some of these implements to the back of his little Fergie tractor, and I look at them, and they're all sort of, it's a shame because they're all roosting into the grun, you know, they're roosting into they're rotting into the grun, and they're all getting all roosty, and I would think to myself, oh my goodness, that's a, you know, that was used for sick and sick, and that implement was used for sick and sick, and you think, oh my gosh, you're right. These words for these farm implements, they will go because the implements are going. The farm implements going by the wayside because we've got one big tractor that does, and the bits of machinery that goes behind it, woof, and the whole process is done. I think we need to get you to do some of your Doric speaking and recitals, Debbie. Would you like to ping us a little poem or a wee recital in Doric, Debbie?
Okay. Well, I think what I'll read to you is a wee poem called Dream for Doric. Now, I had just won a competition for a Doric short story, and this guy came up to me. He was an older man, and he said to me, of course you write in the new Doric, don't you? And I wasn't quite sure what he meant about that, you know. Some of my stories are heritage based, but a lot of things that I write are contemporary as well. But I was quite annoyed by his kind of small-minded attitude, you know, so I went away home and I wrote this wee poem. It was published in the Leopard not long afterwards, and it was about his comment on the new Doric, if you like. No, it's called Dream for Doric. Let's hear some new songs, different tales to tell, blowing in a fresh wind, aneath Doric sails. Nae forgetting past times, celebrating still, but keeping Doric moving, keeping Doric real. Nae just stuck on rewind, fest for it, press on play, youngins' words and voices, sun up and hey I say. Resist the cry for nae change and the shout of nothing new. That's the voice that teamed the kirkside greets or empty pews. Fits forever looking back, can forget to look ahead. You canna hae a hearse time without sawing some new seed. Hands that never broch the grun nor kent a horse and plew can had a pen to write wi, mak all words sing we knew. Young folk and older folk, working side by side, respecting one another, keeping an open mind. Talking the best for both worlds, mixing new we all, keeping the potty bubbling, for fit biles dry than's call. Let's keep our heritage living, save for fading awa. New Doric, all Doric, there's room for it all.
Oh, Debbie, you're such a creative and talented person, you cannot, Debbie. What would you say to youngsters, Debbie, the importance of being able to express themselves in the Doric tongue that they probably hear for their grannies, their granddads, their mums, their dads? What would you say to youngsters nowadays?
Well, I would just tell them to write with confidence, to write probably like I said phonetically, just the way they hear it in their head, and to also just think that they've got to write about all stuff and about all folk and their granny and granda. They can write about things that's bang up to date, their life this week, and that's fine.
Yeah, and speaking in Doric, youngsters, what kind of encouragement can we give to the youngsters to be able to speak in the tongue that they hear from the older generation?
Well, it's the same thing again, really, isn't it? It's just a matter of confidence in using it. And they don't have to be using words that they understand. They can even muck up new words. We've got to look forward as well. Yeah, it's really just all about confidence in using it wherever they can.
And being able to express who you are here. Geographically,
yes.
We're in Aberdeenshire, we're quite unique.
Mm-hmm. To speak about their life and the things that they do and the things that they're interested in just right now.
Perfect, Debbie. I wonder if we've got time for you, Debbie, to do that recital that you wrote for your blog in the Doric Future website. You wrote a beautiful piece.
Okay. So you asked me to write a wee bit about what Doric means to me personally, for your Doric TV and your Doric Future pages. So this is how it went.
Debbie, we would like you to just recite just now that wee little thing that you did for Doric Future. You formulated a lovely piece of writing for the Doric Future website. Debbie, could you recite that just now for us?
I certainly can. Doric belongs to you and me. It's in the quays of the countryside and the steer of the tunes. It's in the land, the sky and the sea. It's in the wealth of culture and heritage. It's in the lives of our own folk, past and present, their songs, stories, and their rich, expressive tongue. I'm thankful for my upbringing in a northeast farming community. It was a simple but happy life. Abdi kentin another, and the word Doric hadn't been invented. It was just the way we spoke. So when folks say, is it nae difficult to write in Doric? I say no. I speak and think in Doric, so it feels to me as natural as breathing. It's far a comfy, and far abide. It's the language of my heart. And even for it, things have changed. Folk in the northeast then abide in the same place all their days, and the population is multicultural, multilingual, and diverse. In order to survive in these changing times, the profile of our Scots tongue needs to be raised, to be recognised, respected, validated, and most importantly, spoken. A language that's in use doesn't stand still, frozen in time. It's a blend of past and present. So of course it's vital we engage with the younger generation and encourage them to use their own tongue with confidence and without apology, sharing our passion and pride in the Doric, but in a way that's relevant to the lives they live today. We are the new initiatives that are currently in motion. I feel really optimistic about the future of our dialect. A future where I hope we'll see the Doric thriving as a living, breathing word, and nae as some Stewie All museum piece that younger folk can't identify with. Language is constantly evolving, and so must we.
Debbie, that just warms the heart, just warms the heart. You know, our own tongue and our own culture is our own first love. You're one of these people, Debbie, who are highly, highly creative, and it is an absolute pleasure, you know, to listen to your, you know, all the creative things that you've done, you know, in your own right, just through that imagination and that little hairty of yours, that Doric hair of yours. Yeah. Debbie, keep on doing what you're doing, okie dokie, and we will hope that we will work more together in the future, because it takes all hands on deck for this, you know, to try to promote the Doric and the Doric culture. And, you know, as I was saying, it doesn't matter if you're of the country or if you're of the town or city, you know, if, you know, we pull together at this time, because we're in a pandemic, this is the history of it, we are in a pandemic. I know, and it's more important that folk like-minded folks stick together to get resilience, to, you know, to get them up and to get them motivated, Debbie. And that's what, you know, the Doric TV, that's where it came from, you know, this pandemic time. And you're right, furiously right now as well, you know, because, you know, it's the end of it. Any culture is about survival. It's about survival, Debbie. Anything from your side, Debbie? Give us a punt for your stuff, Debbie, because we know you do cards. You do Doric cards. It's intriguing. How do we get a hold of these Doric cards?
Well, you can get them on my website, or you can get them, I think they're in 23 shops, outlets throughout Aberdeenshire, for Doric cards, greetings cards for all occasions. They're just doing so well. I think folk have loved to be able to send a greeting in their own tongue, and it's also part of how we are as well. So they've been really, really well received.
So if you're dotty about Doric, get out there and buy some of Debbie's Doric cards.
Got a Facebook page as well, Dotty About Doric Facebook page. If you go in there, get a wee like.
Perfect. That's it. Oh, networking at its best. Rightio, and a plug for Doric TV if you haven't already done so. Get on and join the Doric TV community, and it's just click onto that link, www.dorictv.co.uk. Doesn't take a minute. Only need your name, email address. Right, Debbie, very talented Doric woman. We just admire you, Debbie. Keep writing, keep speaking, do what you do best. We'll see you soon, Debbie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Debbie.